You told your friend to hold during the 2022 market crash. You panic sold. Same data, same headlines, two completely different decisions, and the gap between them cost you more than money. There is a name for this, and once you understand it, you will never look at your financial behavior the same way again. Everything here is for educational purposes, not financial advice. For decisions about your money, please speak with a qualified professional. Here's the uncomfortable truth about your financial brain. It works. It works extremely well. When Celeste's colleague asked her whether to cash out her index funds during the 2022 drawdown, Celeste walked her through the math calmly. She talked about time horizons. She talked about sequence of returns. She said, "The market has recovered from every single correction in modern history. Hold." And she was right. Celeste's colleague held. She recovered. Celeste, meanwhile, had liquidated $23,000 of her own portfolio 3 weeks earlier. Same market, same risk, same Celeste. Marcus is a natural with other people's money decisions. When his brother was agonizing over whether to open a Roth IRA or keep the cash liquid, Marcus explained contribution limits, tax treatment on qualified withdrawals, the compounding math over 30 years. His brother opened the account. Marcus has not contributed to his own Roth in 2 years. The $12,000 in undeployed contributions sitting in his checking account has quietly lost purchasing power while he waited to feel ready. Ren spent 45 minutes last spring convincing a friend not to walk away from her starter home purchase. The down payment felt too large. The timing felt wrong. Ren laid out every reason the fear was irrational: appreciation rates, locked mortgage costs versus rising rent, the opportunity cost of waiting. The friend bought. The home has appreciated $31,000 in 14 months. Ren is still renting at $1,600 per month, afraid to move. 3 people, exceptional advice. None of it applied to themselves. This is Solomon's paradox, named not as a compliment, but as a warning. In 2014, psychologists Igor Grossmann and Kross published a study in Psychological Science using 693 participants. Their finding was precise and devastating. People consistently display wiser reasoning about someone else's problems than about their own identical problems. Not slightly wiser, measurably, statistically, significantly wiser. The mechanism is psychological distance. When you are advising a friend, you are not inside the situation. You process it from the outside, what researchers call construal level theory, high-level thinking. You see the whole shape of the problem. You see what matters and what is noise. But the moment you step inside your own financial situation, the brain shifts modes. Emotional proximity narrows your field of vision. The same mind that saw clearly from 10 feet away is now pressed against the glass, fogged by the heat of your own fear, your own history, your own identity wrapped around money. Grossmann called this the self-other asymmetry in wise reasoning. The research also found something more damaging than poor decisions. It found that repeated failures to apply your own wisdom erode your confidence in your own judgment. The longer Solomon's paradox runs unchecked in your financial life, the more you begin to believe your instincts are simply bad. They are not. They are just aimed in the wrong direction. Here is what the research actually found you can do. And these are not workarounds. They are the techniques that, in the same study, eliminated the gap between self and other reasoning entirely. The first shift: rename yourself in the problem. Instead of asking, "Should I invest this $8,000 or pay down debt?" ask, "What would I tell someone with $8,000 deciding between investing and paying down debt?" You are not pretending to be objective. You are using third-person framing to trigger the part of your cognition that actually processes information well. In the Grossmann study, participants who were instructed to think about their own situation in third-person terms scored identically to those reasoning about a friend's situation. The gap closed completely. That is not a metaphor. That is the data. The second shift: build what Grossmann calls an external advisory board for your money. Not a financial advisor, though that helps too. A board of 2 or 3 people who know your numbers and are contractually obligated to tell you the truth. Not to comfort you, to tell you what they would do if this were their money. Celeste and Marcus and Ren all had the clarity. They just had it facing outward, pointed inward, on a schedule, with someone holding you accountable. The third shift: create a decision protocol for emotional markets. Before you execute any financial move in a period of volatility, write one sentence. What would I tell my closest friend to do right now, given exactly this situation? Then read what you wrote. You already know. The research is consistent. The advice you give is almost always better than the action you take. The written sentence creates the same psychological distance as the third-person prompt. It costs nothing. It takes 40 seconds. And in 2022, it would have been worth $23,000. Back to the beginning. You told your friend to hold. You panic sold. But here is what that actually means. Your wisdom was not missing. It was present, functioning, accurate. It was just pointed at the wrong account. The gap between knowing and doing is not a knowledge problem. It is a proximity problem. And proximity, unlike intelligence, is something you can deliberately adjust. King Solomon was renowned for his judgment. He was also, by most accounts, a disaster at running his own affairs, amassing debts, ignoring succession, watching his own kingdom fracture. The paradox that bears his name is not about stupidity. It is about what happens when the wisest mind in the room is too close to the problem to see it. You are not Solomon. You can close the distance. If you've ever asked why you know what to do with money but still don't do it, that question has answers. This channel is where you find them. Subscribe.